Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner, and I'm very excited today to have as my guest PJ Belomo, who is a lot of things in our community, but one of them is he's the Executive Chairman of Blue Sources. He's a member of our Business and Industry Cabinet, and he's involved with our FCG Incubator and a lot of other things.
Sure.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the program today. Can you start off by just telling people a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. So I'll give you a little over 20 years as quickly as I can. Geeky engineer by training, bachelor's and master's degree from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in upstate New York. Mm-hmm. Worked as an engineer, then management consultant. Then one of my clients hired me. I served as a Fortune 500 VP for 3 years, supply chain services and e-commerce. And then my boss and I left the big company world, took over a small company, grew it 300% in 3 years. That company got acquired by a large public company. I went on to serve 7 years as a CEO at another startup, technology startup. And for the past 2 years, I've served as a partner at Black Mercury, a software strategy, product management, and design firm right here in Frederick. And then executive chairman of Blue Sources. I serve on one of your boards, and I volunteer on several other boards. My favorite volunteer activity, sorry, this is going to surprise you, it's not BIC, but instead it's once a year I get a chance to serve as a volunteer judge at the Frederick County Science Fair.
Wow, okay.
For 5 years, and it's Christmas in March. It is so much fun.
Because you get to go see all the new ideas the kids have.
Right, and everybody else, all the other judges are parents, their dad's an engineer, mom's a scientist, and then there's this Belomo guy like nobody knows. I swoop in, I'm there for a day, I have a lot of fun, and I'm gone. That's a lot of fun.
All right, well, it's what you love.
Yeah.
So, well, I know you do a lot of things in the community, and we really appreciate it. And I consider you one of our community's big thinkers, big strategic thinkers, and really somebody who has a lot of creative ideas and can help guide us to the future. So I wanted to have you on the program today to really get your insight and your advice and your thoughts on the new entrepreneurial center we've opened, the Cultivation Center, we're calling it, at 118 North Market Street, and talk about what you see as really being the advantages of that collaboration, of having an incubator there, having a connection to tech transfer with Fort Detrick, having all of our economic development partners in the same place.
Yeah, well, let me, I'll start by way of an example. And this might seem trivial, but I think last Friday, just 3 days ago, they had an event at FCG. Now that's out in Metropolitan Court, out on the outskirts of Frederick. And, it's a nice place, but it's a warehouse district.
Right.
And that event typically gets 25, sometimes only 10 people to show up. If they get 50 people, it's a crowd. Couldn't find a parking spot. 170, 180 people just on Friday night. And it's because of what Kathy Callahan Brady has done at FCG. It's just on fire. And if, there's a lot of enthusiasm, you bring that downtown, and you've got your economic development folks on the 3rd floor, Chamber of Commerce on the 2nd floor, and then right on Market Street. Imagine having an event like that. I mean, it matters. The community feeling kind of matters. It's not just enough to provide resources. So I mean, I think one of the things you can't understate or overstate is you kind of almost need an irrational enthusiasm really to get this stuff off the ground. And there's a lot of that right now in Frederick. And I think you bring it to Market Street, you facilitate a tech transfer program, you're surrounded by the right resources. I think you need it. I think you need that type of physical environment to create some momentum. So I've got a lot of energy for it.
Well, you bring all the people together, though, and it's all the people's enthusiasms and ideas and innovations. And I know from talking to Kathy Callahan Brady that one of the things she's done is brought these advisory boards into place, and that you play a key role on one of those, Team A, she calls it, on helping businesses with their strategy, and really bringing in a lot of people in the community who are entrepreneurs who really want to engage in not just helping others, but being part of the whole discussion and growing the whole community of businesses.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten any no's. So Kathy asked me, what other CEOs do you know, other startup guys who've kind of been there, done that? And, I called a couple. They all said yes. I all asked them, who else do you know? And before you know it, we had 36 executives who'd kind of been around the block before, all volunteering at FTSE to help out other startups. And I think she's got a wait list of other people who are saying, how can I help? So it's a lot of energy. And I mean, I think there's a connection, a really strong connection between that work and that network she created of executives, and then the type of turnout you get on Friday night. And again, bring it down, bring it onto Market Street where you can go to an event and then go out to dinner afterwards or go have a drink, at a nearby establishment.
Right. You got the whole excitement of downtown, the whole vibrancy of downtown adding to that. And of course, we think that's also a way to keep our younger generation involved. For some of us who are older, we're more accustomed to working in a little bit of a suburban environment, but the young people really want that downtown vibe, and they want what is unique to the community of downtown Frederick. And it is a historic but authentic downtown, which I think makes it special.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a natural, I mean.
So what advice would you give us on making sure this Cultivation Center actually works? Because I do think it's unique. And what do you think we should do to support people who are starting their own businesses?
Right. So two separate things. I'll do the second one first. When it comes to support, if someone wants to start a business, if they're looking to, really scale a business, it's one thing if you, want to hang out a shingle and be a consultant, but if you've got an idea for a business that can really grow, you need to see Kathy at FTSE. I mean, she's got an open door policy and she won't steer you wrong, in my opinion. The guys at Blue Sources, they went to Kathy, and it was through FTSE that they, found me, and then I've gone and helped them go after some funding. So, I really think Kathy is the first stop for someone trying to grow a business. As far as the Cultivation Center, listen, you guys will work out the details, but if I were to just brainstorm, I'd tell you a couple things. One is it needs to be open as possible. So technology, startup people, it's not 9 to 5.
Right.
It's 24 hours a day. It's on the weekends. So you're going to have to figure out a security system and figure it out so that someone can have an idea at 1 a.m. and just come into the office and
make it work.
And get to work. So that's one thing. But part of it is stewardship and just kind of letting things grow. I think there'll be stops and starts, but it'll take on a life of its own. So there's not a lot. Just give them enough room to grow. The good news about this is what's so exciting about it is what's the downside?
Well,
like a startup, right? A startup comes in and they fail. They pick up their laptop, shed a couple tears, while drinking a glass of beer next door, and a couple weeks later they try a new startup, right? You're not like breaking ground on a big plant then fails. There's, you'll have people cycling through, no big deal.
Well, one of the things that has been talked about in Maryland is that we have a lot of federal agencies and institutions here, Fort Detrick being one.
Sure.
But we have a lot of universities that have done a lot of research. We have NIST, the FDA, a lot of sure. assets in our state and certainly here in Frederick. And taking that research and innovation and helping to commercialize it is something important for us to do to create jobs, but something that we haven't been able to quite figure out how to do.
Right.
So I think the connection with the tech transfer is important,
right.
And I think you've had experience with that, and it's kind of happened by accident rather than by intention.
Right.
And so, how we make that, take advantage of what is already known out there, and help it to become a successful business, I think is a real key to success.
Yeah, because you can't count on what happened with Blue Sources. I've told you before, the founders of Blue Sources, my partners, just kind of stumbled on Fort Detrick at a tech transfer expo down near BWI. And good things ended up happening, and they signed a tech transfer agreement. But if they weren't the guys there, here, Frederick folks had to go down to BWI to meet other Frederick people,
folks.
right? And it all worked out. But you know, there's a lot of good people here in Frederick that if we had the relationship and we had an alliance with Fort Detrick, there's research they're doing that needs to be handed off to a commercialization company. They're not equipped to do it. And then, by the way, the opposite occurs too. Like take Blue Sources, for instance. You know, we're going to get commercialization so far. And then it's likely that we might say, you know, we need testing done on this device.
Right.
And we need labs and we need someone with scale. And then the research institutions, whether it's Fort Detrick or University of Maryland, we might need to go back to them and say, hey, we've got this device. It's looking for contaminants in water. We want to test it against, you know, 1,000 chemicals, let's say. You know, we might need to do that. We might not need to do that. But we're never going to have the resources ourselves to do that. And that type of relationship, you know, hi, this is PJ from Blue Sources. Who are you, right? That's going to be what happens on the other end of the phone, and it could something that could take 10 minutes might end up taking 10 weeks to kind of cut through. Like, I don't know this guy from Blue Sources. But if we've got the relationships, they're going to say, don't worry, let me send an email to so-and-so. He'll take your call, and we'll see if there's a way to work.
And it might be a relationship with one of these other institutions,
Sure.
but it might also be a relationship with another private sector business in our community. 'Cause
Absolutely.
we have 75 biotechs in Frederick County. We have one of the second largest cluster of biotechs, and a lot of them will do testing.
Right, sure.
And they'll do it
sure.
for others. That's part of
Sure,
their business
sure,
model.
right.
So, but finding the right connection is
Right.
what it's all about.
Right.
So part of what we're trying to do there is to jumpstart that collaboration and those connections. So we do have to wrap this up. It goes quickly. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think
All right.
I think we're headed in the right direction.
All right. Well, thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate it. We're really excited about all the enthusiasm we have for our second business incubator and all the collaboration that's going to come at our Cultivation Center at 118 North Market Street. Thank you for joining us.